Boom, I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is in the place to be. Unfortunately, this is not going to be the funnest episode ever because this has not been the funnest week ever. It has been a heartbreaking, scary, historic, violent, frightening week. Have to talk about what happened to Charlie Kirk and the response, which has just been sickening and frightening. But I will tell you a lighthearted story about getting my colonoscopy. I had a great colonoscopy and I had great colonoscopy results. I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming up right now. Miles Jordan, a.k.a. the Bleach Brothers, a.k.a. the Dust Brothers. Start this puppy off with something real nice. Start this puppy off with something real loud. But most importantly, start this I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast off with something real funky. This is the I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Liggity, let's go.
I am Rapaport Podcast.
Boom, have no fear. The I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is here. Biggity boom, have no fear. The I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast is in the place to be. Welcome to the Iron Dome of Disruption. Welcome to the Ziggity Zone of Disruption. Name is Michael Rapaport, a.k.a. the Inflamed Ashkenazi, a.k.a. the Sultan of Sniff, a.k.a. the Gringo Mandingo, a.k.a. Mr. New York. I'm Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct from beautiful New York City. Still the greatest city on the planet. Still. Anyway, I'm Rapaport Stereo Podcast coming live and direct. I truly hope everybody's good. I know it's been a crazy week, man. This is one for the books. I always stay safe, stay sane. Gotta stay sane. Stay safe, stay sane. We have to stay sane because it's a very, very, very challenging, trying time as I'm recording this I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Be moving and grooving. I'll be on the road. I will be in New Jersey performing September 25th, 26th, 27th at the Stress Factory. Come see me live in Jersey, New Brunswick, New Jersey, September 25th, 26th, 27th. I will be in Providence, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th at the Comedy Connection. I will be in Denver, October 9th, 10th, and 11th, and so forth and so on. All tickets for all my shows, Calgary, Levittown, Arlington, Virginia, and so forth and so on are available at michaelrapaportcomedy.com, michaelrapaportcomedy.com. Come see me live, Jersey, 25th, 26th, 27th, Providence, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, and then I will be in Denver, michaelrapaportcomedy.com. A couple of weeks ago, obviously I have to talk about this horrible, terrible assassination, this killing of Charlie Kirk. I wanted to try to start with a little bit of positive news because, as I was saying to the Dust Brothers, Miles Davis, Jordan Winter, respectfully, I don't think this is going to be a very fun I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. I always try to bring light. I always try to make people laugh. Try to make people laugh at me, laugh at yourselves, laugh at what's going on. I always try. I am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. It is the world's most disruptive podcast, but disruption isn't necessarily a negative thing. I like to talk trash at a high level, and the thing that I like to talk trash first and foremost is about myself. But it has been a very, very tough week. But I will tell you that a couple of weeks ago on this podcast, I said that I was going to get my colonoscopy, and then I had to push it because of scheduling issues. But lo and behold, this morning I got my colonoscopy. And for those of you men that are 40, definitely 45, 50 and older, I can't urge you enough, men and women, but I'm talking to the guys here specifically, to go get your colonoscopy. Please go and get your colonoscopy. You want to know what's going on inside your body. And, I talk about this all the time. I suffer from ulcerative colitis. I've had ulcerative colitis since I'm 16 years old. Fortunately, somehow, some way right now, Baruch Hashem, my ulcerative colitis somehow, some way isn't active. It is in remission. And it's a miracle. But there's so many different things that could be going on in your body, and you do not want to wait. You do not want to wait. I urge all of you guys over 40 to set up a colonoscopy. And trust me, it is not as bad as you think. The jokes and somebody's going up my butt and butt, forget all that. You don't feel anything, especially if you get this medicine. They put me down like a rabid dog. That propofol, how you say it? Propofol. I said it wrong when he said, oh, I got the propofol. And I said, that's a propofol. And he said, no, it's propofol. That Michael Jackson, that medicine that Michael Jackson somehow, some way was addicted to, somehow, some way a doctor allowed Michael Jackson to use propofol as a sleep aid. Yo, there's no defeating it. I remember the doctor before I went down, he said, there's no defeating this. And I said, I'm going to try to stay up as long as I can. And he said, there's no defeating this. And they started counting 7, 6. I woke up 45 minutes later. I know what happened. It wasn't even 45 minutes later. First of all, the actual colonoscopy only takes 10 minutes. Okay? The sleep is unlike you're on that Michael Jackson. May his memory be a blessing. And then it's all over. You know, the prep, the drink is actually not as bad, not as tart, not as spicy, not as tangy, and as hard to drink as it has been over the years. Like I said, this must have been at least my 25th colonoscopy. Again, I suffer from ulcerative colitis. So this must have been my 25th colonoscopy, somewhere along those lines. And that prep medicine that you take before your colonoscopy, that's the worst part. And then, of course, you're in the bathroom, and when you think it's over, you're back in the bathroom, cleaning it all out to get everything nice and clean. And hopefully you go get your colonoscopy, and the doctor will tell you what he told me, that you have a perfect colonoscopy. And I was like, are you serious? And he was like, yeah. And I was just like, I was so happy because, you know, I've suffered from so many stomach issues and, ulcerative colitis, which is like the best friend or the cousin or the brother, sister of Crohn's disease. It is no joke. And I've been on this medication and that medication. And somehow, some way right now at 55 today, as of today, my ulcerative colitis is in remission. But man, whew, that medicine is strong, man. It's frightening. It is frightening what that medicine can do to you. I mean, it puts you out. And, you always see these videos. A lot of them are in Philadelphia. But I saw this montage video of all these druggies, these zombies. And I'm not making fun of it, but it's hard not to laugh at how a drug like this fentanyl can be something that's appealing and then leave you in a state where you're like I see these videos of these people on fentanyl and they're like they're frozen. I actually saw a guy who must have had a podcast because he was on fentanyl. He was frozen. He was like this. I was like, this doesn't look like a fun position to be in. Like, why would you want a drug? It seems like it would hurt your back. It doesn't seem like a good ride to be on a drug that leaves you like this. It's just frightening that, people could get addicted to these drugs and the ramifications of drugs and obviously alcohol, what it can do to you, especially if it's like, have you frozen out. But I do have a clean bill of health from my colonoscopy, Baruch Hashem. And I want to, listen, this isn't going to be a lighthearted episode. Like I said, there's just no way this episode, these last few days, to make light of it. It's been extremely frightening, heartbreaking, shocking, scaring. The murder, assassination, the killing of Charlie Kirk in front of the world that was terrible. And I don't need to tell everybody what happened. We've all seen the video and heard the news. And as of the recording of this I Am Rapaport Stereo podcast, the person, the killers, as of the recording of this episode, are still on the loose, which is scary. I wanted to gather my thoughts about what to say because I'm going to be honest. I talk a lot of shit. And whether you like me talking a lot of shit or you don't like me talking a lot of shit, whether you agree with some of the things that I say, whether you don't agree with some of the things that I say, one thing I can promise you is that I am very, 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 very 150% aware of how I talk shit and when I'm talking shit and how it can be perceived, misperceived, misconstrued, how as a shit talker, as somebody who's as crass, honest, and as disruptive as me, I know that I step on toes. I've said this before. It's part of the business. It's part of the disruptive warrior business. And I am a disruptive warrior. It's in my blood. I came out this way. I'm genetically 99.9% Ashkenazi Jew. And if there was a way to test my disruptive gene, it has to be because this is who I am. But so that being said, again, I know that I could be crass. I know I've stepped on toes. I know I have offended people, and I know I can be offensive. I know I can be hardcore. I know I could be hard body karate. I'm aware of it. When I'm in front of a camera, I am aware of it. Personally, if you see me in real life, that's why when people see me in real life, they're like, I thought you were going to be, I'm not always on. It's who I am. I talk my shit. It's obviously an extension of who I am in real life. This isn't like, they're not the real Michael Rapaport, not the real disruptive warrior, not the real Gringo Mandingo. This is me. But this is a show. I am a professional podcaster. I'm a professional podcaster. This is a show. It's I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast Show. You're watching it. You're listening to it. And my point of view has been crass. My point of view has been rough. My point of view has been funny. My point of view has been, offensive. My point of view, you could agree with, you could not agree with. I'm aware of all that shit. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. But I'll first say in regards to Charlie Kirk, any person who's a public person, whether you're a podcaster, a news broadcaster, whether you have a social media platform, whether you're on the radio, just doing the radio, whether you're talking just sports, you're talking cooking, any public person that would in any way, shape, or form support, laugh at, excuse the public killing of Charlie Kirk is sick. Really, really, really twisted. Yes, we all know at this point a lot more about Charlie Kirk and his views, whether you like his views, whether you don't like his views. If you're a public person, and I'm saying this knowing that I'm talking to myself, if you're a public person, we want to affect people how we want to affect people. We want to inspire people. We want to infuriate people. We want to make people laugh. We want to, whatever your agenda is. But no public person is in control of how or what we do might be affecting, infuriating somebody else. So if you're a news broadcaster, a pundit, you have a social media platform, or all the options that are available today, and in any way, shape, or form you support or excuse or belittle that this man was shot in cold blood in public, it could and it can be any one of us. That could and can be any one of us. There's no excuse for what happened to Charlie Kirk. There's no rationalizing what happened to Charlie Kirk. There's no explaining what happened to Charlie Kirk. It's 500% unacceptable. And I am saying that as somebody who I know is brash, and I know I talk my shit, and I know I have been offensive, and I know I've been inspiring. I'm very aware of how I come across. But people trying to make it a political thing or a belief thing, or he said that, and now this happened to him, and making excuses. There's no excuse for it. And aside from the professional podcasters, news broadcasters, sports analysts, actors, actresses, singers, any one of us, it could be any one of us. The most famous to the person with the smallest phone. You don't know how what you're doing, even in your intentions could be the best of the best. You don't know how what you're doing, what we're doing, what I'm doing is affecting other people. So to not fully condemn what happened to Charlie Kirk is unacceptable. Because God forbid it happened to you. What happened to John Lennon, what's happened to so many political people, the governor of Pennsylvania, Shapiro, this just got swept under the rug. Nancy Pelosi's husband, Josh Shapiro's house was fire burned. Nancy Pelosi's husband, whatever, like you think about the people, it's not cool. It's not okay. We don't know how we are affecting people. We don't know what kind of sick lunatics are out there. There is a great actress, Teresa Saldana. This is a little known story. She was best known to be in Raging Bull. She played Joe Pesci's wife in Raging Bull. For some reason, she was attacked and stabbed in cold blood. You know, there's stalkers, there's crazy people. There was that radio guy in, I believe it was Portland or it was Seattle, who was murdered. But aside from the professionals, the pundits, the political correspondents, all of us, in this day and age, we're all online. We all put our face on wax. And for anybody to think that you can go online and say, yeah, I'm happy about what happened, and yeah, I support what happened to Charlie Kirk, and excuse it and laugh about it and belittle. I'm saying this with all due respect and no malice. Anybody can get touched in a way that we do not want to get touched. That kind of violence, whether you call it political or psychopath, they say a foreign op, crazy person, whatever it is unacceptable when someone is at an event to shoot them in the neck. It's unacceptable to break into celebrities' homes. It's unacceptable to threaten people in the DMs. None of it is fucking acceptable. But seeing the responses online from all sorts of people. People say it's this one, that one, it's liberals. I've seen responses from across the board. White, black, women, trans, LGBT. I've seen horrible people celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk with their face on wax, cameras in front of their face in 4K. And I don't know what their political beliefs are. And I guarantee you, if you went through all of them, they're not all, on this side and they're not all on that side. It's unacceptable. That kind of violence is unacceptable. And it scared the shit out of me. It scared the shit out of my wife because I get threatened. I get threatened every single day on social media. Every single day. I have had incidents I don't even want to talk about in real life. I've had motherfucking shows canceled, people threatening me, threatening if you show up at this venue, this, that, and the third is going to happen, threatening the people that work at the clubs. And I'll say on my behalf, listen, I don't care. I said it gazillions. I don't give a fuck who you voted for. I don't care. You're like, what are you talking? I don't give a fuck who you voted for. I have people in my life who I don't agree with at all politically. And I love them. Close people. There's been people that, because of my beliefs, I haven't heard from in the last 700 plus days. Yeah. But I'm open to have conversations, talk with anybody. But there's people who I adore, who I would give and do anything for, that we don't see eye to eye on things politically. We won't vote for the same person. We don't think the same way about Jews in Israel. But I would still never wish, hope, any kind of violence upon them. These people out there celebrating, excusing the murder in cold blood of this young man, Charlie Kirk. Shame on you, man. And you should try to find like something. Read the Torah, read the Bible, do some yoga, do something. Because it ain't cool, it ain't cute. People are dancing. We're so desensitized that you could celebrate that shit. And it happens all the time. It's that world star bitch violence when people are getting beaten up, taking out your phone, going world star. Instead of helping, calling the cops, screaming, yelling, saying stop. Instead of saying stop, people going world star. And I'm not blaming world star, but that's sort of the most well-known social media version of it. I just, it's scary that happened. You know, I've talked about, you know, some of the things that I've dealt with. I talked about some of the things that, you know, with my shows being canceled and the threats in the DMs and social media, you got to figure out a way to cut this shit down. There's got to be a way to cut this down. If somebody says something on social media, there's got to be a way that they're no longer allowed to get on that platform ever. And they will stop doing it. Because people are just saying horrible things to people. Violent threats day after day after day after day. And I don't care if you agree with me, you don't agree with me. Mike Rapp, you said this. You never hear me threatening violence on other people. Never would hear me celebrate violence on other people. Political pundits, sports analysts, bloggers, podcasters. That shit is not cool. That shit is not fucking okay in any way, shape, or form. May his memory be a blessing. His poor wife and his poor 2 children. Over what? Because whether you agree with this guy or not agree with this guy, he was out there talking. He was out there trying to have conversations. And that's what we got to have. You know, I have a friend of mine, Aviva Klumpus, who you should listen to her podcast. She does polling and studying and all that stuff. And, you know, she's pro-Jewish, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel hardcore. And at the end of the day, she told me, she said, you know, based on the studies, the only way to, you know, understand other people and maybe possibly change people's point of view is to sit down and have dialogue. There's a great episode of The Breakfast Club this week with Ben Shapiro. A couple of days ago, Ben Shapiro, some people are like, what the fuck, you fucking hate him? Blah, blah, blah. No, I think he's fucking brilliant. I think Ben Shapiro is fucking brilliant. I don't agree with everything that Ben Shapiro says, thinks, but he inspires me. I think he's fucking brilliant. But there's an excellent episode of him with Charlemagne on The Breakfast Club. And at the end, he thanked them and they thanked him for coming because they don't all have views that align. But they had a great discussion and it was fair and it was respectful. And we need more of that. And based on everything that I know about this Charlie Kirk and what he was doing and even what he was doing when he was murdered was to have conversations with people. It's been a fucked up week, man. And like I said, as of the recording of this podcast, they haven't caught this person or people. They don't know if it's a man or a woman. There's all kinds of, everybody's Inspector Clouseau, everybody's NYPD Blue, everybody's, you know, FBI and CIA but we're going to need it because this isn't like the lunatic. It's crazy because the guy that got arrested for trying to kill Trump before he was elected in the weeds, he was in the weeds while Trump was playing golf a couple of weeks after he got his ear shot off. This is what you expect from a psychopath killer. He's representing himself. Good luck. You know, the white guy who was out there like with the law while Trump was, this is what you expect. This person that took down Charlie Kirk, is on that Born Identity. He's on that Matt Damon. He's on that Bradley Cooper, like that sniper. Because to go out in front of however many people in broad daylight and shoot your gun one time, complete the mission, be gone, and 24 hours later not captured. That is some Born Identity, Matt Damon, Bradley Cooper, Mark Wahlberg, Keanu Reeves. That is frightening that could happen in America with all the cameras and all the cyber this and all the cyber that. And like I said, as of the recording of this episode, they haven't captured the person. But may his memory be a blessing. And for those of you that are out there celebrating anyone's death, shame on you. Shame on you. There's no excuse to celebrate anybody's violent death, an innocent person, whether you agree with them, don't agree with them, think that it's the biggest piece of shit or whatever people might think. There's no excuse. And to have the gall and the lack of self-awareness to go in front of a camera and laugh about it and celebrate it and TikTok dance and sit there and eat candy bars while you're pontificating your smart shit to get more clicks on social. Nobody gives a fuck about why or what you think, but it's been a terrible week. You know, this video in North Carolina of this Ukrainian girl, beautiful Ukrainian girl. I believe she was 23-year-old girl on the train coming home from work. She had just moved here from Ukraine to escape the war, leaving her job at a pizzeria in 4K. You see a guy walk up, no, not even walk up, get behind her and stab her in such a violent way, and nobody does anything. I just don't know where we're at, man. I just don't know where we're at, where that could happen, where you could be on a train and somebody who's been in prison for 14 times, 14 arrests, be on a train 14 times. If you get arrested 14 times, they got to find like a zoo. Put the motherfucker in a zoo. I don't need people that have been arrested for crazy shit, wacky shit, kooky shit, violent shit, threats of violence out on the streets with me, with my wife, with my kids, people who I love. Nobody needs those people out. Put them in a fucking zoo, literally. Make a zoo for them. Shut down like the least funded, the least successful zoo in this country and put these motherfuckers in a zoo. I'm sorry you're a psychopath. I'm sorry you're mentally ill. But I don't need you walking around me. I don't need you walking around my wife. My wife was groped in New York City in broad daylight a couple of weeks ago. I don't think I talk about my wife, Kibi. She was coming out of the play with her girlfriend, and she was in her purse over there on 47th between 7th and 8th, and some fuck came behind her and, rubbed up on her, put his hand on her hip, and then kept walking, violated my wife in New York City. And, she said by the time she realized, she had like a gimp hand, and, he had, gotten away. I wasn't there. I don't want people that have been arrested 14 times for whatever reason walking around my wife, walking around my kids, nor should you. And it has nothing to do with politics. Put them in a fucking zoo. Anyway, I know I told you this episode wasn't going to be fun. I told you this episode wasn't going to be much laughs. It hasn't been a fun last few days. It's been a scary last few days. That Charlie Kirk, seeing that over and over and over, knowing that I'm a public person, knowing that people are out there are like that, knowing that I've had people say dumb shit to me on the street, knowing that I get threatened on social media every single day. I don't give a fuck what I say that offends you. Threatening me, and knowing that somebody could do that in 2025 and still be on the loose, knowing that somebody has the intention to do that. Just the thought, the idea that you want to kill somebody because you don't like what they say, however it resonates, you don't agree with them, is frightening. And like I said, I know my part and I know my behavior and I understand my little place in all this, but it was frightening to see that. And may his memory be a blessing, and all we could do is just pray for his family, think about his family, and whether you are a professional pundit, whether you're a professional podcaster, sports analyst, social media blogger, vlogger, whatever, there's absolutely, positively no excusing what happened to Charlie Kirk. And if you even have a phone and you have the audacity to celebrate, make excuses, what happened to him, pray that you don't inspire the wrong person to somehow, some way want to do harm to you. I really hope you understand that in this day and age, something horrible like that could happen to anybody. And that is just the worst case scenario that we all had to witness. Something I'm never going to forget. I know it's going to change the course of history. May his memory be a blessing. Anyway, make sure you tell a friend about the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. Subscribe, rate, review the I Am Rapaport Stereo Podcast. And stay safe, stay sane, and stay disruptive. I'm out.
I Am Rapaport Podcast.